we are going to move on to our next section, which is FailMail. This week, we asked you guys to message in with the most embarrassing thing your parent has ever done to you. So, Mr. Tom Elwes, you've been receiving the messages this week. What have you got for me?
Okay, so I like this one. I'll start with this one. Okay, so this is 3-part story. Okay, so part one, not parent but grandparent will allow it. Okay.
No, fuck's sake, you fucked it in the first one. Jesus Christ. What was the thing, parent, Tom? What did you put out? Have you ever had an embarrassing story?
They're on a family road trip. Okay, they're on a family road trip. Okay. Well, brought in a watermelon into Pizza Hut along with a butcher's knife. My grandmother used one of the plastic menus as a cutting board and started cutting the watermelon.
Amazing.
Made the entire family finish the massive watermelon before we could order our lunch.
What? What was that about? Why?
For context, they're on a road trip and no one knew where she got the watermelon or massive knife.
Good for grandma. Fucking knows what she wants. Watermelon.
Get your watermelon down, you...
Maybe that's something for Pizza Express. Serve watermelon as a starter. Might do well.
Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut. Oh, sorry. My apologies. I knew you wouldn't do that in the fine eating establishment of Pizza Express, but Pizza Hut's a free-for-all.
Yeah, absolutely wildness. Okay, the other story, this one is good. And this is a sort of sex toy related. So I got a big black strap-on for my 21st. Went to use it once and my boyfriend at the time got heaps angry, so didn't. And left it behind the bedside table so no one would find it. Then my mum cleaned my room, and when I was at uni and it was gone, neither of us ever brought it up.
That is so good. So the mum's just nicked the strap-on. Your mum might be shagging your dad or someone else. But I don't get it. So she got a strap-on for her 21st.
Yeah.
But not from her boyfriend, from someone else.
I guess.
The boyfriend didn't want to use it.
Didn't fancy it. And then she was like, oh, what am I going to do? And then just started using it, just put it behind the bedside table to hide it. Mum cleaned the room, found it, took it for herself.
Wow, Mum. That is brilliant. I love as well, never bring it up. That's so good. Yeah. Because also, how do you ask that question? Mum, have you seen my strap-on anywhere?
Yeah. What's that?
Yeah.
You've been in my...
Where was it last? Ooh. Who was it in last?
I don't... Mum.
Did I tell you that story? I've told you that story before, haven't I? About the friend of a friend. They're married and they're a bit of a rocky. They've got a young kid. And then the marriage is a bit rocky. One Christmas, the husband, bought her a strap-on. They hadn't talked about it before. She hid it. They haven't talked about it since. Mad. Strap-ons are just what a cause for interesting tension.
Yeah, interesting. It's quite a power shift dynamic.
We should get a strap-on sponsor for this podcast, I think.
Yeah, we'll take that. Right. So back in the day, I showed my ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend on Facebook to my parents. They accidentally poked her.
Hey. Nice poking. Good era of
yeah.
You can't really call it.
So awkward. Imagine getting a Facebook request poke from some middle-aged woman. And then you worked out it was the same surname as your ex-girlfriend's. Oh god.
Ex-boyfriend. Yeah. I also just the weirdness of why are you showing your parents your ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend? Is it?
Your
ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend. Well, fair play. Okay, cool. Anything else?
Yep. I got Peter as a middle name. Yes, like the animal rights org. So I don't think that's that bad. Oh, okay. My mum called the place this is grandma to dad. So my grandma called the place my dad was interviewing to ask if he would be home for lunch.
That's so good. Man, grandma's fair play to them. The problem is when you're that age, you just don't give a shit about anything anymore. You don't care about the formalities, what you're supposed to do. You call them up and be like, is my son coming home for lunch from his busy job interview?
in my final year of school, my mum told English teacher that I hated English and it was my least favorite subject. I had convinced the teacher it was my favorite subject for 6 years. The teacher then told the whole class I hated their subject.
Oh, petty teacher as well.
Yeah,
Oh my
so bitter.
god.
"Oh,
So
you don't like my class?"
somebody's obviously been learning how to lie in this class
Yeah.
mainly. They read it out in rhyming couplets.
Um, just like my mum once sung gangster rap in a car full of my friends.
Yeah,
Uh,
legend.
after coming out, they tried to set me up with 2 guys. It was very awkward. Uh,
I think fair play to them getting involved. Why not?
bought me a T-shirt with an actual gold earring in it for my 17th birthday.
Sick. That's so sick.
There's a few of these, like, made me wear a fluffy pink glittery jumper, and it was my 16th birthday.
Oh, sweet. That's nice.
Um, yeah, I don't know, just a few, like, embarrassing clothes ones. Lots of farting in cars or farting around friends from dads.
Yeah, fair. Well,
I like the watermelon story the most, just like your gran coming into the Pizza Hut with a giant watermelon
just
and
don't
cutting it
care.
up.
Yeah, exactly. Well on it. One, all power to her. I think I've never really, fortunately, had many embarrassing, really peak embarrassing stuff from my parents. I mean, my parents are embarrassing in the way that everyone's, you're always embarrassed of your parents and what they'll say and stuff like that. But generally, I think I've been quite fortunate in that they just play it off. Really, they're obviously embarrassing. They don't do really weird stuff. I think really weird stuff is what you don't want them to do.
Oh, I remember being a teenager and my dad having going at me about keys and was like, "If you don't fucking remember your keys, I'm just gonna answer the door in my pants." And it was like midnight and
Oh,
I
I
was
remember
with this
this.
guy,
Yeah,
I was 18, and literally he just comes down in his pants, just completely in his pants and just opens the door and I was just like, "Oh no."
legend. I like that though. To be fair, that is funny. I mean,
Mhm.
the one that my mum always likes bringing up anytime anyone new comes around, she always talks about how we used to play this card game called Old Maid. Which, have you played it before? Basically, you can do it with a deck of cards, but we had this actual like old maid like kids card. You've basically got to get rid of all your cards. You've got to pair up your cards and put them down. You've got a handful of cards, and then you don't want to be left with the old maid because there's no pair for her. There's just
Got it.
one card.
Mhm.
And the thing is, it's all about bluffing. So you basically don't know who's got the old maid at one time. You don't know what. I mean, it's a fairly simple card game, and you've got to pick a card from someone else. So basically, you're hoping to get rid of the old maid, and you just basically got to make sure like no one ever thinks that you've got the old maid. So I was a kid, right? I couldn't hide any emotions because I'm not a fucking psychopath. But obviously, that was not good for the card game Old Maid.
Yeah,
So
yeah. You'd
what
be
would
like,
happen is, no, even worse. So what would happen is, I would be there without the Old Maid, and I'd go to pick a card. It would be the
yeah.
Old Maid, and then I'd immediately go, just start crying,
Cry like a
and
wuss.
then my parents would just start laughing, and my sister would just laugh at me because they were like, "You're not supposed to do
Let
that."
it out. That's not that embarrassing. Oh, I do have another really embarrassing story. I was in a skateboard shop in Covent Garden. I must have been about 12 or 13, right? So awkward as hell. And there was a skateboard brand, I don't know if it's still around, called Heroin Skateboards, and they had,
Jesus.
like, the decks, like, on the wall called Heroin, and we were in there, and I was trying to buy going to buy a skateboard, and then my mum kicked up a massive fuss and, like, got the manager and was like, "Do you think Heroin Skateboards is cool for kids? And do you think that's okay?" And I was in front of, like, my teenage friends, and it was just so embarrassing.
Oh, so sweet. Your mum took you and your friends to the skateboard shop as well. How sweet.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
really think heroin skateboards is acceptable for
For children.
children? Oh, so
Yeah,
good. I'd love that. Well, we're all going to be them. I can't wait to make dad jokes. Well, I make them already, but
yeah.
have a legitimate reason to. It's my set. But yeah, it's going to be great. But thank you very much to everyone who sent in your fail mails this week.